Hi everyone, this is Halak and welcome to another Java tutorial session. In my last session, what I did was I extracted or I created a new sync card class, which was the same from the tutorial 2 tutorials ago, and I did some changes. And what I did was that I created a government class, extracted some of the common code that I expect if I created a driver's license class, so it was related to the name. I also created a constructor for this abstract class, and remember, an abstract class, you cannot instantiate an object of this type. Okay, and I will demonstrate that. And in this class, I have a constructor, create a constructor, and I introduce the keyword this. And the keyword this means if we have, for example, this is the parameter, we're assigning a parameter to the instance variable name. Okay, and what makes this class abstract is the fact that we have one method that is not implemented. Okay, so we haven't provided any code, and notice the abstract keyword here, and you notice there's no method body here. Okay, so that's where we stopped from the previous tutorial session. Now in this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a driver's license class. Okay, so and then you see how we reuse the code. So I'm just going to call it driver's license. All right, so so this is the class. Call it card to follow a naming convention. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, now what I'm going to do is actually extend. All right, so I'm going to extend government card. Okay, so you notice that it'll light up because it's complaining that I haven't implemented create card ID. Okay, remember I created card ID in the sync card here. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to create the constructor first. All right, so I'm going to create the constructor first, and you notice that it's a name. Okay, so because back in our main later on, I'm going to create these objects, and I'm going to place names in them. Okay, and recall that the super here calls the government cards constructor. Okay, I'm kind of lazy to type, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to print this out. Okay, so let me say that. All right, so driver license, oops, license card created. Okay, so that's what we have now, and it's still complaining because we still need to override the methods from government card, right? And the one method that we have in that's abstract is create card ID. Okay, so now you see that what we have here now is that we've actually inherited, right, a number of things. We inherited this. Okay, that's what we inherited. Okay, now we're going to actually implement this in driver's license. Okay, we call that in the sync card. Okay, what we did was that we just generated the number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of use a similar thing, all right, type of format. I'm going to add something else on top of here. Okay, so I'm going to refactor this. Okay, so I'm going to rename it, and I'm just going to call it driver license. How about ID? Okay, so I'm going to do that. And now I'm going to actually use this as a field. I'm going to create this as a field. And what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to use this as a string type. Okay, all right, just to make it so that looks, so you can see the difference. Okay, this is complaining because this is an int. Remember, the sync card was an integer, right? But this time, driver's license ID is going to be a string. Okay, so for me to actually convert it into a string, all I have to do is actually add something on. So I mean, for example, the letter LM, right? Notice that now everything's fine, right? The concatenations will actually cast this, right, these integers into a string type. So now everything's fine. Okay, and you notice the difference. Sync card, all right, has a different implementation from driver's license card just because the requirements are different. Okay, so and the other thing is I can actually do this, right? There was a get method here. I could also do that, right? I could do that. So we just do getter, right? And then we just get this string. There you go. All right. So this is for specific to the driver's license card class, and what we did was everything's pretty much the same. We said that we inherited everything that's common between SIM card and driver's license, which is the name. Okay, so here we have a pretty good setup. You notice that these are overrides. Okay, we can also have, we can create more than one. Right, so let's just say that we have another. Let's just call it display card info. You can do that. All right. Well, actually, I'll show you something else. I'm going to actually provide an implementation for this. Okay. So in here, I'm just going to say system.out. Oops. All right. I'm going to say this is a government issued card belonging to. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to say name. So because remember we have name here, right? And so you notice that this is what I'm going to do is actually I demonstrate that we override this, right? We can also override this as well in here. All right, so let's do that. All right. So I can do an override again, and I can override that if I want to. All right. Okay. And notice what happens. It automatically called. All right. It invoked the superclasses. All right. Government card, right, which is a superclass of driver's license and SIM card, right? And so what you're going to end up doing is that this is going to actually be invoked and it's going to get called. All right. We'll demonstrate that after. All right. And here. I'm going to print out, let me see what I can print out. Okay, this, the SIM number is, right? And then I'm just going to say SIM number. Okay, so that's what we have. And we can do the same thing for driver's license, right? We'll do that. So I can override. Right? And again, it calls it. And in here, I'm going to, so I don't want to type this out, but I'm going to change this here. I'm going to just copy it, and then I'm going to say, well, oops. Okay, so I'm going to say the driver license ID is, this is a string, that doesn't matter. I'll know how to cast it to a proper type. Okay, so you notice that it calls it again, the display card, which is up here, right? And we're using that, okay? And then we're going to actually display something else that's different, okay? Now we're going to go back to main and actually create these objects, okay? So here, again, remember how I said you can't instantiate a government card type because it's abstract? I'm going to show you something here, right? Because I'm going to create two types. So I'm going to, I just call this SIM card, okay? Okay, so watch this. If I try to create government card, okay, remember, I'm just going to say James Gosling again. Right. Notice how, see that? If I hover my mouse there, okay, and it says that is abstract, cannot be instantiated, okay? Government card is abstract and cannot be instantiated, all right? Now, but I can do something like this, okay? Let's say James Gosling. Right. Now look at that, nothing wrong with it. This is a demonstration of it's an ISA type, okay? a SIM card is a type of government card because we inherited, right? We inherited from government card, right? It's SIM card is still considered a government card, so we can actually do this. This is a more more general type of SIM card, right? And in another tutorial, I'll explain the significance of this. But for now, just remember that we can actually do that. Okay. Now with SIM card, I can actually go. I can call. All right. So I can call. I'm going to say create ID. Okay. And I'm going to display info. Okay. All right. So that's what I do. Okay. Now I'm going to create another government card. Okay, I'm going to call this driver license. You can type today. All right, and watch this. I can actually do something like this. See that? All right. And well, I like JavaScript, so I inventor JavaScript. Okay. All right. See now, look at that. I have this type, right? Assigned to a government card type because again a driver's license card is a type of government card. Okay, and now I do this. Okay, display info. Okay, now watch what happens when I run this. So I'm going to run it. Okay. All right, this is hard to see, so I'm going to put a new line between here. And run it again. Okay. So here, notice that when I created the card, right, the SIM card, it says SIM card created because that's what I put back in my constructor. Okay, I printed that. Okay, so that's all that line is. And then in create card ID, right? Well, in display, actually, I said this is a government card issued belonging to James Gosling. Remember, this is what I actually call it, right? So this is it. All right. Now the SIM card number, okay, is just a number. And notice that in the driver's license card, all right, there's an LM here at the end, which is what I did, right? You recall, right? So in here, okay, this part was different from the SIM card, okay, right? So what's happening here? The polymorphic behavior in Java is such that when the JVM knows that this is the type, right? Even though we assign it to a general type government card, because they're both government cards, but it knows that it is this is a SIM card. So when I actually invoked create card ID and invoke display card info ID, right, from the SIM card, right? So when the SIM card object is invoking these methods, it knows which method to call. Okay, remember, they both have create card ID, all right, and display card info. They both do. Okay, so they both know that. They both have that. But because it's looking at this actual type of the object, it knows to invoke that particular method belonging to that type. All right, so this is the reason why this printout works. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. It gives you a bit of an understanding about Java polymorphism, okay, and a bit about abstract classes and methods, okay. So I hope you enjoy this and see you again next time. Take care. Bye.